So, are book talk, TikTok books, are they worth the hype? Probably not. Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Today I'm here to talk about books that are really hyped on TikTok and whether or not they are worth that hype. So we all know TikTok is taking the world by storm. Whether you agree with it or not is up to you. I don't know. And with that, book talk has become very, very popular, with a lot of books that I really have not heard a lot about being featured a ton. Like, I just see them over and over and over again. So I thought, hey, why not do a video and read a lot of these books that are being really hyped up and see if they really are worth the hype or not. I'm going to talk about 7 books today that whether or not I think they're worth the hype. Now, of course, as always, this is objective because you guessed it, everyone has different opinions. What I might like, you might not like. What you like, I might not like. So as always with all of my review videos and all my videos, always is take this with a grain of salt. At the end of the day, read the book for yourself and see if you like it. Let's get into it because I have 7 books. The first 2 books I'm going to talk about I have actually read previously a while ago, so my memory in them is a little bit fuzzy, so I would start off with them. First up is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now, she is a very popular author. She got into the book scene when I had kind of first started BookTube. She wrote the Obsidian trilogy, I believe, which I did not read, but I heard a lot about From Blood and Ash because everyone was saying it was the next big vampire romance. And who am I if not a girl that is obsessed with vampires? You got me.
You're standing at the mouth of hell, and it's about to open.
I read this, was so pumped up for it, and no, I'm here to tell you, if you love vampires, you want a vampire romance, this is not for you. It's just not that good. So this book will follow a character named Poppy, who is in this fantastical world where she's like a maiden, where nobody can look at her, but of course she falls in love with her bodyguard named Hawk, who she discovers is not quite who he says he is. This book comes out at a whopping 622 pages, which is not by the stretch of imagination that crazy for like a fantasy book, but mostly a romance fantasy book. It's a little bit stretching it. And honestly, nothing happened in this book. Like, nothing happened. The fact that this author made this a trilogy, I don't get. I do not get. So I didn't enjoy this one. I can't recommend it, honestly, because I just didn't like it. I really wanted to like it as a vampire lover. I am always, trust me, always looking for a great vampire romance because Angel, Spike, need I say more? But this one just wasn't it. So is this worth the hype? No, I do not think so. Not in my opinion. Next up is one that I quite really can't fully explain, and that is The Spanish Love Deception, and that is The Spanish Love Deception by Eliana Armas. So this one took BookTube, Book Talk by storm a couple years ago, and everyone talked about it, and then I decided to read it, and I couldn't finish it. So this one's technically a DNF, but I'm still going to tell you my thoughts and feelings on it. So this book, we have a character named Catalina and Aaron. And basically, at the beginning of the book, Catalina has to go to this wedding, I believe, with her family in Spain. And she doesn't have anybody to go with. And so her kind of nemesis guy that she works with, Aaron, decides to volunteer to be her date, and you think that's, oh, so great, yes, and I was even for it. But by page 150, I kid you not, I'm pretty sure it was either 100 or 150, they still were not in Spain. They were still like in the office talking. Like, I was like, what? Why? What? This book just really drags on. This book had 487 pages, which coincidentally is not the longest romance book I'm talking about today. And that's a lengthy romance novel, in my opinion. To me, a good romance novel falls anywhere between 300 to 400 pages. That's my sweet spot for me. If it's any less, I feel like it's a little bit too short. If it's any more than 400, I feel like it's a little bit too long. This one was way too long and took way too much time. I did not like either of the main characters, honestly, so I had to DNF it. So can I say this is worth the hype or not? I guess honestly I can't really say because I did not finish the whole book, but I'm glad I didn't. I wasn't vibing with it, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. Next up, we have an indie author, and that is The Dreamland Billionaires by Lauren Asher. They recently got cover redesigns, and I gotta say, I love them. I think they're great with the schematics and blueprints. I'm here for it. So this is the Dreamland Billionaires series, which of the books follows a different brother. So at the beginning of the book, you learn that their grandfather has died. He was the CEO of Dreamland, aka Disneyland. Before each of them can collect their inheritance, he has left them each instructions to do different things. The first book kicks off with the character named Rowan, and he has to like become the CFO for like a few months and try to find Dreamland's like weakness and make it better. And so he does that. So he gets in the nitty gritty of like almost like Imagineers with Disney World and stuff with the rides and things like that. And when there, he meets a character named Zara, who is kind of in the thick of it. She works with a beauty salon, but then she gets bumped up to be like kind of Imagineer and stuff like that. And they butt heads a lot. Like it is a very hate-hate relationship at first, but of course things happen, steaminess happens, and it kind of goes from there. Again, this is a very lengthy one as well. Oh, actually, that's not that bad. 440, which is like weird enough as I say it. It's one of the shortest romance books I've read in this list. This one, like, is it worth the hype? I'm gonna say kind of yes. I liked it. I like the whole aspect where each book's about a different brother. And I've only read the first book in the series, but I plan to read other ones. I will say I didn't love this one as much as a lot of other people do, but I am hopeful to like other ones. Like I feel like I'm gonna connect with the other brothers and their books instead. I think there's terms and conditions, and I forget what the other one is, but I have to say, I get the whole appeal of it, the whole Dreamland. It's like Disney and reading fairy tales. And, you know, you have kind of a very grumpy CFO with a very happy, like, sunshiny character. I get it. Next up, we have another indie author that has since been traditionally published, I believe so, and that is the Twisted series by Anna Huang. The first book is Twisted Love, and this one follows a character named Alex and Ava. And Alex is a very, 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 he lets you know, tough guy. Like, you think a tough guy, Alex is like, I'm here. This is a tough guy, I'm Alex, I'm way up here. And at the beginning of the book, his best friend's like, hey, I'm moving away, can you keep an eye on my younger sister Ava? And of course, you know what happens. Ava, again, is like literal sunshine, and he's the grumpiest of all grumpies, but also he is very smart. He is the bad A's of all bad A's. He made his first million when he was 11. I didn't enjoy this. It was not for me. Like, I just felt like she was really pushing hard on Alex being like the best guy ever, like the toughest guy ever, like the smartest guy ever. He was being the CFO of his company at really, really young. And I'm like, I don't know what 11-year-old was doing that, because I wasn't. I was looking like a total geek. So I don't know. But again, the spicy scenes were a little bit too intense for me in this one. This one was very much like kind of, what's the word? Like a lot of like angry type of stuff, which that's not me. But I don't know. For this one, was the hype worth it or not? For me, no. A lot of people say it gets better as the series goes on, and I did peek into the other books in the series, and I read, like, kind of skimmed them a little bit, so can't say I fully read them by any means, which I have not. But I didn't jive well with any of the other ones as well. So for this one, for me, I didn't love it. I don't know if it's worth the hype or not. If you want a really steamy, very, very intense type of steamy, maybe this would be for you, but sadly, it just wasn't for me. Next up, we have probably the most hype one. This is the one I've heard about the most, other than the Spanish Love Deception, and that is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is the first book in her Knock 'em Out series, and this one went for the longest book, because holy crap. So this book is a whopping 572 pages. Let me repeat that. This romance book is 572 pages. That's insane. So this book, we have a character named Naomi, and she goes to this very, very small town in Virginia. I'm from Virginia as well. It's called Knock 'em Out. Pretty sure there's no Knock 'em Out really. And it's in Northern Virginia. I'm in Southern Virginia. And she is meeting her twin sister Tina there, because Tina calls her and she's like, I need help. Like, come help me. And so Naomi kind of leaves her wedding. Like, she decides not to get married to this guy, and she goes to save her sister. But little does she know, when she gets there, she learns that Tina has stolen her car, stolen her money, and left her her 11-year-old daughter Waylay, who Naomi never even knew existed. So not only did her sister totally steal everything from her, but she has an 11-year-old niece that she had no clue existed. So Naomi is quite literally like, what the hell? So she has to figure things out. So she stays in this small town to be the caretaker for her niece, and she meets a guy named Knox there, who's a very gruff guy, another kind of tough guy, but has a heart of gold. And I'll be honest with you, I did enjoy this. This was a great romance. It was a very, very slow build up, and I enjoyed the side characters. I enjoyed the small town. However, the length is the problem I have, especially with these last few books I'm going to talk about. The length is where it falters for me because it's just too long. 572 pages is too long for a romance book. Now, I recently have gotten a comment on YouTube on one of my videos where I think coincidentally I complained about the length of like a novel like this, and they said, well, if it's on Kindle Unlimited, the authors get paid per page. That may be why there's a lot of pages. Whether or not that's actually true, I don't know, but if it is, it would make sense of why these books are like over 400, 500 pages, which, I mean, no qualms to them. Get your money. You wrote the book. I understand it, but for the sake of plot, there's no reason for it to be 572. This book dragged on. There were so many chapters I think you could pull out completely from this book, and the book would be totally fine. You wouldn't miss anything. So, is this worth the hype? I want to say kind of yes. I did enjoy it. The romance was great. The characters were great. But again, the page count was just way too long. That's my main thing with these books. They're way, way too long. If it is in fact true that they get paid by the page when it comes to Kindle Unlimited, like I get it, but then I'm like, I don't know, like, doesn't make, I don't know. It's, I can't really say, you know. Next up, we have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This one is also really long. It's 435 pages. Again, you could have taken multiple chapters out of this book and nothing could have happened to it. So this one follows a character named Anastasia, who is a figure skater trying to be an Olympic figure skater. And we have Nate, who is the captain of his ice hockey team. They're in college, so it's kind of new adult as well. They have to share a rink together and they kind of loathe each other. Nate actually really likes Anastasia. So the whole book, he's really trying to woo her, show her that he cares, and she's very, very scared of commitment and doesn't want a lot to do with it because she's so focused on her goals. While also, there's a lot of mental health talks in this book, which I really appreciated. Again, I did enjoy this one. Was it worth the hype though? I don't know, because again, way too long. Multiple chapters could have been taken out and nothing would have happened to the plot in my opinion, but I'd have to say I did like this one. Is it very memorable? It's so hard for me to judge like whether a book is worth the hype or not. For me, I'm gonna have to go 50-50 on this one. It was okay, but I don't know if it was like 100% hypeable, but that again, as always with all of these, are just me. Last book that I have to talk about is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. This is a book series that I've heard a lot about. Never had any plans on reading until I thought about doing this video, and I have to say, pretty glad I did. This is a book series literally all about aliens and humans and steamy times, and that's literally it. So with these other books you have where there's just so much that is just not quintessential to the plot that you could be taken out of, this one literally like is so short that like, you know, there's really no plot. So in this book, we have a character named Georgie, and she's sleeping one night, and what do you know? Georgie gets zapped up by some aliens, and she's in like a cell with all these other really young females, and they have been taken by these aliens that are really, really horrible. The beginning is not that good. And then they get dropped off because the alien ship kind of malfunctions on this planet that is like full of ice and snow, and they're like, where the heck are they? And Georgie, being like the kind of leaders of the girls, decides to go explore, and there she gets captured by an alien named Vectal. And he's like, hey, you're my mate. I resonated and you are my mate. You are mine. And whoa, things happen from there. And basically, if you love books about mates, if you want a series that where it's like you get a mate, you get a mate, you get a mate, then you get a mate, this series is a good one for you. If you just want a book all about aliens, and if you want a book about aliens and human getting it on, and this is great for you. Never I thought I would say, but I enjoyed it. It was fun. It has no sort of plot to it at all. Do they go into the details about this planet? Not really. Do they go into the details about why this is all happening? Not really. You just have to accept it for what it is. It's just a book about steamy times, and that's all you got. Again, this book is really short. This one comes in at a whopping 218 pages, so you got the other ones that are way too long, and this one that's a little bit too short, so you gotta find a compromise. For this one though, is it worth the hype? Yeah, because it was a good alien time. And I had a good time with it. Never thought I'd say it, but here we are. So there you have all of my thoughts and opinions on these books that have been very, very hyped up on BookTube, Book Talk, and things like that, and whether or not I thought they were worth the hype. I know I'm missing a ton more. There's probably a lot more that I've already read, so let me know if you have any other books that you've seen on TikTok that you think is worth the hype or not. If you've read any of these also, did you think they were worth the hype or not? I would love to know. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.